Yo, dads, today's guest is Leon Scott, who's a social media influencer, former professional footballer, and businessman and dad. And in this conversation, which gave me goosebumps throughout pretty much all of it, it was so valuable. Dare I say, my favourite one yet, because we connected on such a great level, talking about things like how to bounce back from failure, how to separate which version of you walks in the door, whether it be the aggressive sports person of you if you've been playing football, or the business minded version of you when you walk in the house. We talked about navigating grief and loss, how faith in God has improved his fatherhood journey, and how he ultimately prioritizes the one thing that we all do, which is presence. Enjoy, lads. Liam, mate, your life looks mega on Instagram, like the fashion, the fitness, the success. But you've been one of the rare people to be open about the fact that you've failed a few times, folded businesses, and had to start from zero before. So, what would you say to a dad in the community who's struggling right now with running a self-employed business or a brand, but then having a family, but then who might be sat there if they do a bit of scrolling in the evening, looking at social media influencers like yourself, looking at the polished version of their lives and then comparing them to their own?
Yeah. So firstly, I I do it myself at times, but I try not to get caught up in that. Again, comparing someone's chapter 10 with your chapter one. Focus. I'd strip it all back and focus on yourself. Um, as I always say, going back to myself, what I tend to do when I find myself going down that path is strip everything away. Like I said, I've had businesses and folded them, businesses that have gone through good patches and bad patches, and it's seasoning. So it's always strip it away in terms of there's a lot of wants and not needs. As a personal branding, as yourself, there's a lot of things that was out there that we think we want, but we want, but we don't actually need. And that goes down to budgeting as well and overheads in terms of your pricing of what you're spending your money on. When I was younger, coming through the modeling industry and as a footballer, I always felt like I needed to have be wearing high-end brands, Gucci, driving Range Rovers, which I did. And I don't know if that's an age thing. I don't know if it's something that you have to go through to witness, to feel that a lot of them, don't get me wrong, it's brilliant, it's luxury, it's amazing. But if you're trying to run a business and keep your costs down, your overheads down, there's a lot of things that we can strip away and really double down on what we really need and not what we want. Um, so again, focus on yourself. And again, I'm not just saying this because I'm an online coach, but controllables, which is what you can control. We can control our own fitness in terms of whether that's be a daily walk, whether that be the gym. We're all at different levels. Again, don't compare your chapter 10 with with your chapter one. What can you do that's bringing you peace, that's helping you grow? What can you cut off that you know is not serving you purpose? You know that's not helping you grow. And sometimes it's an ego thing with a man. We know, or we try to lie to ourselves and say, "Oh, one more pint or one more night out." And we need to really be harsh with ourselves and cut it off. If we can control it, that one pint and only have that one pint. If you're that guy, then do that. Which I know I wasn't that guy. Which is why I haven't drank now for over 5 years. Where that one pint when I was playing football would go to 2 pints and I'd just be chasing. So not so much that I'm scared of the identity. I've cut that off because I know that where that path goes, and I know that you know loses me a lot of peace and loses me a lot of money and doesn't serve me purpose. So as a guy owning his own brand or his own business or his personal worth, I'd say cut off what's not serving you purpose and what's not bringing you peace, and really strip the fat back and focus on yourself and what you can control that's bringing you peace.
Yeah, yeah. So, first of all, know yourself, what your needs are versus what your wants are.
Hmm.
And then also don't compare yourself to other people who are in a completely different season to you because your wants might be what their wants are and not what your wants and needs are. And then also elimination, just strip back things that you don't need because they're overwhelming, aren't they? And in my experience, when you do strip things back, it creates like a vacuum. It leaves space in your life and in your brain and your mental energy to fill with either nothing, just chill, or with the things that you do need and that you do genuinely want, like more purposeful things, mate. So that's, yeah, that's really good advice, mate. Cheers for that.
Exactly that, man. Like I said, it's clutter. It really is clutter. If you've got your messy bedroom, your head's messy, and it's a little bit like up here. You've just got to clear the clutter out. What's not bringing you peace and purpose? Clear that out, and you'll make room for what is good for you.
Yeah, perfect, mate. So the next thing, mate, quite a sensitive subject at the minute. You recently lost your mum. Um,
Mhm.
Obviously, send condolences for that, mate. Wish you and the family all the best. But you made a very bold statement recently about filming parts of your mother's funeral to show, to specifically show your son the legacy of
Uh-huh.
love that she left behind. Not many people will be brave enough to do that. So in a world where everyone does have an opinion, which, mate, you're probably on the receiving end of a lot of that right now, on how you should parent or grieve, how do you decide as an influencer what stays private and what gets shared?
Um, for me, like I said, it's if sometimes this runs through my own mind in terms of what should Cruz be seen and what should he not be seen? Because for me, obviously the word opinion is exactly that. It's an opinion of what others think. You know what I mean? So if I felt like he found something out from someone else that wasn't necessarily good news, I don't feel like I'll have done my job. I want him to be able to say, yeah, my dad told me that. Yeah, my dad warned me about that. Yeah, my dad showed me that. Instead of him coming to me and saying, Dad, what have you not told me about this? Have you not showed me this? And that day will come, whether we like it or not. What in reality, people say they're protecting the child, but it's really you're trying to, I feel like I'm trying to, or they're trying to protect themselves. Well, I want to be a real open book to my son where he can come to me and speak to me about things online because he's going to see it, whether we like it or not, for how long we can feel like we're protecting him. It's a vicious world out there. So I want to try and give him the tools or the preparation of when he does hit him, that he's I'm not saying going to be prepared, but he's like, oh, yeah, I'm aware of that. I've seen that. My dad showed me that. I've been there with my dad and that not just always be happy moments. My mum's funeral, yes, it's a sad moment, but it's also a celebration of my mum's life, a person that I love deeply. I very, like I say, very open, showed the funeral there. So I want that to not be normalized. Something like your funeral, be normalized to take photos, to take videos, because one day I've had a lot of messages of people saying, "Yeah, I appreciate what you've done. It's amazing. I want to. I've never thought about that, but now when I look at it, it's something that I can always look back on. Or I wish I did when my dad passed or my mum passed, because I didn't take no videos. I got caught in the moment. So protecting him is more protecting. Oh well, I think I'm protecting him, but it's more protecting myself. But I just want to be an open book to him with the social media world.
Mate, as you were speaking there, it reminded me of this really important podcast that I watched recently with a guy called Gabor Mate and Mel Robbins, and I'll send it you and I'll link it in the description to this as well. And he was speaking about traumatic emotional psychological wounds that get caused. And there was a story of Mel Robbins who actually got sexually abused on a holiday camp when she was about 14, I think. And she didn't tell anybody. Now, this caused problems into her late adulthood. And when they were discussing it live on this podcast, he said, the problem is that you got abused off this person on this holiday camp. It is. But the bigger problem is that your parents were not an open book, so you didn't feel confident enough to go and tell them that this happened to you. If they'd have been an open book beforehand, just as you are with Cruz, if something happens to him, he knows that you're an open book. He knows he can come and have these uncomfortable conversations with you, and therefore the psychological trauma is dealt with immediately and it
Mhm,
doesn't
mhm.
stay with him. So I think being an open book with your son, mate, is an absolute fire thing to be doing as a parent. Absolutely. Two, in
Yeah,
like
no,
in
it's
Mel's
powerful
case,
that, man.
in Mel's case,
Mhm.
to stop psychological trauma, which we all have, lasting a lifetime.
Mhm.
Yeah. A funeral could be
Yeah.
seen as a psychological trauma that could last a lifetime, but the way you
Mhm.
flipped it there to be an open book and use it as a celebration of a life, which they do in other cultures. I don't know if you've seen a Nigerian wedding, mate. They dance with
Yeah.
toddlers
Yeah.
on shoulders. We're just very
Yeah. Yeah.
serious British and Western, aren't we? So, mate, I praise you for the way you want to do it. And again, mate, opinion. That's what you wanted to do. So how can anyone else comment on that?
Mhm.
Right, my
Yeah. Exactly, man.
next question, mate, is a lot of dads in our community were someone else before they had kids, and the jobs that they have now to provide for those kids. There was someone else before. So maybe like you, they played high level sports or they had a completely different identity. So you went from being a professional footballer to modeling to business, and now you're a dad. So how do you stop your identity from being tied to what you do for work
Mhm.
or what you used to do, and keep it grounded in who you are for your family?
Tough question. So for me, with my sport, with my business, and with my dad life, no, people always comment on this in terms of I'm two different. Well, I can be three, four, five different people. And when I zoom out on that and look at that, I really am, because it's almost like an alter ego. Because when I get home, I'm this soft dad, this playable, this lovable dad. But when I played football, I was this rough, aggressive centre midfielder. So it's detaching in each area of my life of where I am. It's right. I need to lock into that person. Right, I'm now Leon, the loving dad. Right now, I'm Leon, the aggressive footballer. Right now, I'm Leon, blue steel model pose. Now, so I've got to be able to. I can't bring the aggressive footballer dad home, because that's just not acceptable around my partner and now my now Cruz, my son, because that guy doesn't go in the household. But when I leave the household, I can't be this loving, caring guy on the football pitch, because I'm just going to get pushed all over. So it's identifying what, let's say, action hero is needed in that field of workspace, and being that guy, then detaching from that guy when I enter the next field of battle.
Mhm. So did that become more apparent when you had a kid though? Because I guess you could take the anger from football into the blue steel pose, you know?
Mhm.
But like you said, you can't bring it home to children where you need to be tender. Like so, I think that the answer is yes. That does become more apparent when you have got young kids and a family that you do need to
100%.
lock in on things. And is there any part of your identity that you've had to like kill off that doesn't
Um,
exist anymore now you are a dad?
no, I don't think I are. I think it's still part of that. It's probably more so my temper with my partner. If I'm being honest, at early stages, there was bits of me that was really impulsive, and just bickering. Whereas now, I don't know if it's since the introduction. Well, it's not since the introduction of Cruise. It's since the introduction of me meditating and going to meditation camps, of where I've been a little bit more better responsive with my answer back, sitting with my thoughts a little bit more controlled. Again, going back to the early question, controlling the controllables that again bring me peace. Whereas, so I've probably been able to cut off the fiery part of me, but again, that I still need the reminding of that part still inside me. So it's not cut off permanent, because when I need to make big decisions, it's like, right, we need to do this quick, or we need to do that with no, or feeling sorry about that, or but what if that happens? So to a certain degree, I cut them, not so much cut them off, but lay them down until they're ready to be picked back up.
Yeah, he's more evolved. I think when speaking for myself, when I had kids, mate, the word love and the feeling attached to that was no longer 2D. We had so
Hmm.
much more depth to it. And the one thing that it's given me is patience.
Yeah, yeah,
The love that
yeah.
I've got for not just my kid, mate, because this is about family men. the love that I've got for my
Mhm.
family unit at home has just blessed me
Mhm.
with tons more patience, and I'm able to do what
Mhm.
you do, where I'm not as reactive. Not all the time. I ain't perfect, mate, but
Yeah.
yeah, for the most part, love for the
Yeah,
family.
it's like it's almost like a test, mate. Against the full bucket and empty bucket. We know when things are not going our way. We know when business is not going as well as we can. We know when certain things are doing our head in. So it's like shit. It's going to be a test later for me to keep my patience, for me to keep my peace. And it's been aware that's rising and that's getting to that stage. And being like, right, okay, well, how can I empty this bucket? How can I put a few holes in this bucket to bring me back down? So when I do go home, I'm not that fiery person or that aggressive person. That again is going to cause more distress, not only for you, for the family. So just identifying what can you do to empty that bucket again, whether that be a walk, whether that be a podcast, whether that go and be a chat to one of your good friends, whether that be a jump in your community. It's identifying what works for you to empty that bucket so you don't get that overload in what we're saying. Because there's going to the tests, and we will, as humans, we will fail them over and over again. But the more passes than fails shows that we're progressing and evolving as a person.
Yeah, of course. In the community, the tool that we use, because the community is full of tools. It's not a hand-holding, community. We're full of tools. We're taking actions. The tool that we use for this, I've created it. It's called the driveway reset. It's however you need to just decompress before you walk in the house, so that when you walk in, peace walks in with you.
Yeah, exactly. And that goes back to the what type of person do you want to be? And I still do to this day. And I've got a really good mate of mine who's on pretty similar page of life with me. And we always, whether it's a call to him or just a sit in the car, sit down the drive in my car for 5 minutes before I go into the house. I don't just fly into the house from the business Leon, from the fitness Leon, from the model Leon. Right, who am I going to be? What can I expect when I walk in this house? How do I want to present myself to my son and my wife? So all these questions I'm already asking. So I'm a little bit prepared whether I walk in and she goes, "Let's cruise." I'm like, "Oh, okay," you know what I mean? It's instead of like firing something straight back and being that aggressive dad in front of him and being that aggressive partner towards her, going in on my phone. I don't want to be doing this. I want to be, with them with presence. So it's having that 5 minutes of reflection of what type of person do you want to be.
Yeah, and the rewards are different, aren't they? So when you're playing football, your reward is this, and you are celebrated and revered for this thing, whether it's this trick that you did or this goal that you scored.
Mhm.
You try and walk in and say, "Hey, love, you want to see this goal that I scored?" She'd go, "Yeah, yeah, 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 there's the baby."
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That again is picking your time, isn't it? Is them conversations are nice, but there's a right time to have them. You know what I mean? And identifying, right, is it the time for me to go in again? That alter ego thing. Is it the right time for me to walk in the house and start talking about Leon the Superman? Probably not. You know what I mean? I can tell her about Leon the Superman when we sat having some food together in a little bit more controlled environment. The feelings and the thoughts and the pictures bigger than me right now. It's about her and the baby and what she may have been through that day. So it's about again suppressing the alter ego for a moment and becoming Leon the dad.
Yeah, mate, that's really valuable. One of the things that we taught as well was the four pillars, and it's family, fitness, freedom, and finances, and not mixing them together. And that lends itself to exactly what you've just said. It's like if you've come in from I don't know, game of golf, you are freedom Leon, and you need to switch back into family Leon when you walk in. If you come in from a modeling shoot or football or something, you are finances Leon, and you need to switch back into family Leon. Because if you come in as all four, the energy of that house is going to be chaos, mate. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, exactly that, man.
Perfect, mate. Right. Last question, mate. Something I've been looking forward to talking to you about. I've been watching your faith journey online. You were recently baptized, I think.
Mhm.
And as a man who's recently accepted God into his life, I wondered how much your faith in God actually affects how you raise your crews. Like nothing business now. This is just direct
Yeah.
line from God to Father to Son. Like how has faith
Mhm.
um, inspired your fatherhood journey?
For me, it's to show him that there's someone greater than me. I'm his dad. I want him to know that. I want him to respect that. But I also want him. I don't want him to think that dad's got no one, because dad's got God. Dad's got faith. Dad's got bigger than the biggest. So he knows that I'm protected. He knows that I'm loved. So whenever dad's not there, he's also got someone else to lean on, someone else to talk to, someone else to believe, someone else to guide him. And there's no greater gift than that being God. And that actually came from my mum. I've never, been full on faith until I've seen my mum struggle. I've seen my mum, battle every day. And more recently, within the last 5 years, my mum found faith. My mum got baptized. And the last 5 years of her life, although the last 1 year was a bit of a struggle with cancer, I've never seen my mum move so freely and so happily with what she done. And so she should just, although she had a difficult life, she accepted that life, and she moved with a smile. She moved as if she was light. She moved happy. And whenever I see that on someone, I like to, maybe speak to them. How are you getting that? Where's that coming from? And it was happening right in front of my eyes. That being my mum. So it was my mum that inspired me and led me there. And it was my mum who actually I asked her to baptize me. So that was again a massive blessing being able to do that. So yeah, being a father and obviously a child of Christ is it. It almost no. I'm giving Cruz belief and faith as well by seeing that. Like I say, he comes to church with me every Sunday, and he's always he looked. He doesn't physically say it, but he enjoys church. He loves throwing his hands up. There was a little funny moment yesterday as we were walking out. He's saying little bits of words at the minute, and the church went really quiet, and we were leaving a little bit early, and he shouted, "Bye, church." And everyone just started laughing. So just little moments with him like that just mean the world to me and make me walk out there again, getting these feelings that I used to see from my mum. I feel at ease. I feel okay, even though there's a million things going on in the background. Being present with God makes me feel like everything will be okay.
I completely agree with you, mate. And
Uh-huh.
it's very difficult to kind of transplant those feelings into other people unless they've actually surrendered to God. But yeah,
Mhm.
what you said there was really profound, mate, about Cruz, your son, understanding that you need someone as well. You've got someone looking
Mhm.
after you. Because for my entire fatherhood journey, I've kind of said to my son that I'm the greatest man on earth because I thought that
Mhm.
being a dad meant that I have to be the number one source of support in his life and that I have to show strength all the time and all the time. And I tell you something, mate, there's been times where that's been painful to not show weakness in front of him because I didn't think I should. But since
Mhm.
recently surrendering to God and
Um,
speaking to him a little bit about it and just sort of warming him into it, I move like your mum does, mate. I move more freely.
mhm.
I feel happy that mate, I'm happy and freed from the fact that I'm not in control and that I do need somebody and that I do actually have someone's arms wrapped around me.
Mhm. Mhm. Exactly that, mate. And again, it's when I give my testimony, it doesn't. A lot of people look for miracles or look for big signs, and it doesn't necessarily need that. Brilliant if you get it, amazing if you feel it, but it's just surrendering and open your arms out and saying, "Look, I'm going to drop my ego. It's not all about me. I get help if I want help. If I'm open to help, I'll receive help." And for Cruz to see that, it warms me inside to say, look, my dad also gets help. God helps him, and it's just little conversations like that. Like I don't have full control of him when he grows older that he's going to follow Christ, but there's a very good chance that he sees it, and again, as an ideal situation, yes, an open book, him follow that path, but if he sees what I've seen in my mum, there's a very good chance that he's going to also want to receive that from God as well.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. It's really good to see, mate, and I'm looking forward to staying in touch with you about what it's like as they grow up and the questions that they ask and all that sort of stuff. So, mate, I can't thank you enough for your time. This has been really, really valuable for dads. And I'll link all your stuff in the description below, mate. And if you need anything from our community or anything from us, mate, you know where we are.